to give yourself a
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Everett, Shannon. Thank you for the invite. Give us an opportunity to express ourselves on what we're doing down here at the great Omaha Nation Public School, Three Sisters Garden. My name is Richard Valentino. A little background: I'm the head of maintenance here at the school, and also I currently, I guess they kind of labeled me the farm to school coordinator. We take care of a Three Sisters garden, commercial and traditional style garden, 7 acres. So yeah, glad to be here. Kind of really willing to express our what we got going on down here, share with everyone.
perfect. Well, last year we got an introduction about what you all are doing. It was great that we sent out an invite for you all to be a part of our symposium in our 2024 Good Health and Wellness here in Rapid City. And I was glad you guys made the trip. That was really awesome. And from what the surveys that we collected at the end of the symposium, Omaha Nation was the highlight. And a lot of people put that as, you know, one of the better presentations. And so not taken away from our other presenters, they were great as well. But what you guys are doing is very unique in Indian country. I feel like food sovereignty is one of the more talked about uh, uh, things going on in our tribal community. So what you're all doing, give us a little background about where this started.
Yeah, like I said, last year we got to come out and present. It was really awesome. But then, you know, kind of our little background on it. Originally there was Alberta Fraser, Dr. Brenda Murphy, Ricardo Ariza. They all kind of really dived into uh, teaching the kids about Dr. Murphy as a naturalist, got her PhD in botany and all that. She would really dived into teaching the kids about plant health, and it really grew from there. He was able to teach the young kids, like K-6 kids. Ricardo's Jobs for American Graduates, kind of looking at, he did a survey with all the kids, all the students, saying, hey, what do we want to do? What job opportunities are out there? Or what do you guys want to do to impact your community? A lot of them was like, hey, we want to make it healthier here for our people, for ourselves. There's nothing good to eat. There's everybody's sick, diabetes, cancer, all those things, and it just kind of really snowballed. I mean, not like over months or anything. I mean, it was like snap a finger, hey, we're planting a 7 acres garden here, and it really evolved to that. The kids were all in with it. The first year, COVID year, of course, we planted some corn, got kids couldn't come on site. Nobody could come on site. It was stuck to kind of Ricardo and I, a couple of the staff here to take care of that corn. Things let up a little bit. Ricardo and the staff were able to harvest the corn. Kids got to come back to the school in a limited capacity, kind of hand process that corn, did all those kind of things, and really that really helped spur that cultural connection to this whole thing. An opportunity to get our culture to our kids. There were stories shared at that time when we were actually processing the kids. We had an elder come by and talk to us about, hey, when I was a kid, we did it this way. My grandpa told me it was done this way because of this. So there was that one little thought the kids had spurred into that, where culture was being one of the driving factors behind this whole thing. And then you bring into the food health part of it, the healthy, sustainable living part of that. It all really evolved and snowballed from there.
Yeah. So where did the funding come from? I know we talked about giving this back to our youth to provide income for themselves. What about, I think a lot of curiosity came from was a lot of the feedback that we got was how were you able to give an income to the students?
First of all, I'd like to give a lot of the credit to our school board or board of education to support this program, to be able to use our school funding to go down this road of food sovereignty and uh, uh, growing this garden with the kids. And the school administration, Ms. Hardy, and her the rest of her staff to really kind of be all in on it and really uh, help us. So at first it was completely school funded. Um, like I said, there we have over the years we've kind of grown partners. The Department of Labor, Nebraska Department of Labor, helps fund a portion of the students' salary, where they work from 8 in the morning till 12 o'clock every Monday through Friday throughout the summer, working in the garden. Um, Really, just and a lot of it was like I said, I'm the maintenance supervisor. When I got hired on here, thinking, hey, I'm gonna go make sure the air's working in the building. I'm gonna, fix a broken toilet. I'm gonna work on some wiring, change light bulbs. And here I am doing a 7 acre garden. It's a lot of extra duties with our staff, that all in kind of uh, support that we have from all of our staff members. Everybody picking up extra duties. But the funding overall to fund the kids to be down there, a lot of it comes from the district, some of it Department of Labor, and this year we've had a different another partner, Proteus. They are actually a migrant worker group that help fund migrant workers. With the new administration's change in direction and all that. That funding changed a little bit. So this is the first year they're actually help funding schools, students. So we're able to capture some of them dollars to help support that. There's a lot of tangibles to that to really get this funding for the kids to work. Where each kid probably makes about $3,000 over the summer if they work all their hours. $3,000 to $3,200 a summer, which to a lot of our kids, that's the big part. That's the big part. Hey, I want to get paid. I want to buy new shoes. I want to buy that game. But through there, the kids are like, they come back with all these great stories. Like, hey, you know what I did today, Mr. Valentino? This weekend I helped Grandma. We went and got groceries. I helped her pay for the groceries. Or hey, I took my little brother to the carnival this weekend. And all those like really cool things that a lot of our kids wouldn't be able to experience without this opportunity.
Yeah, that's the goal, is to give them a life lesson there in regards to agriculture. I mean, gardens, whether it's small, if it's a home garden, or even somebody that wants to do a garden, they have that background to help other community members, and I feel like that was kind of the bigger picture to this program. Teaching them now so they can take what they learn and apply it, to their future families, their children, kind of pass something along, because this time in their life, how many years have you said this been
This
going
year,
on?
5 year 5.
5 years. And
Yeah.
are a lot of the students that come in, are they the same ones from the years before, newer, younger, older?
The majority of them are consistent employees. Every year some of them started when they were freshmen in the class, who had their freshman year, and this is their senior year. So they've been with us for 4 years. We're really starting to see that skill set being built in them and established in them, where they come to work. Beginning of the year, a lot of them are taking on that leadership role within their little groups and within the team itself. Really, really growing in that direction.
Right. And I feel like, yeah, that was the goal. When I think back on where you guys were and to where you're at now, and I think that's one of the questions that kind of lingered with me, was uh, the ones that are there, that kind of have the longevity and have the experience, and what you just said was kind of teaching the newer ones that are coming in, showing them the ropes. And uh, I feel like, yeah, that's something that's going to sit with them for a very long time, learning this type of skill. And I think that's the beauty of food sovereignty, is to be able to plant your foods, and ones that are without all the measures that they take to put them in stores, what they went through to get to that point. You get to Walmart and you see the produce and you think about, what was the journey? Where did this come from? What part of the country did this come from? And what did it have to endure till it's actually there for availability? I feel like some of those things that we kind of overlook. But I think that's one thing that working in land for as long as I have kind of opened my eyes a little bit about that as to what's so when I see uh, a food or not a food vendor, but a produce vendor. Like they have them all over in California, and I remember seeing those and stopping by. Like this is one of those things I can't miss. I can't pass up because I know that it basically came from somebody's garden or somebody's field, and it's right there, and it's fresh off, and it didn't have to go through quite the journey just to get to where it's at. Now, the produce that you all farm and harvest, where does that go?
So the goal wise, that is to be pushed back into the school to actually um, we would like to see all of our food that's grown down in the garden be pushed back, funneled back into the school where the kids can eat it, the kids can grow. We don't got to see cashway trucks. We don't have to see different trucks delivering tons of food that was grown in Argentina. 3 weeks,
Right.
a month ago. We grow it. Our kids grow it. That medicine that they put into it, just growing it themselves, and that they started from seed. They nurture it all the way through, plant it in the ground, harvest it, process it, get it into the school. That's our big goal. But other than that, we also have a farmers market that we run every 2-3 times a week here right at the school. We try to get into the other communities. Right, I think we're about 2 weeks away from our first farmers market. We're starting to see all that stuff happen. A lot of it goes to donations to the senior center, to the WIC program. I mean, even people that need, just need, hey, we don't have nothing to eat. Come on, let's go get some cabbage or let's go get some carrots. We donate a lot, but at the same time, we're still trying to teach our kids sustainable living, how to make a living off this. Like, hey, if you were a potato producer and so and so that was a cabbage producer, you guys can trade. And at the same time, money is a means of trade. If they can make a living off of doing this, help themselves, help somebody else. I think that's kind of one of the big goals here. So getting that food out there is to the community, making it available, and not just one way, but multiple ways is really awesome. Like for example, we had a high tunnel that we started lettuce in December this year. It was real slow growing and everything and getting it ready for harvest. But come March, April, we had full heads of lettuce. We had like 600 heads of lettuce that were cut and coming in.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
harvesting that. The last 2 months of school, we operate a salad bar in the cafeteria. The cafeteria has a salad bar for the students. For the last 2 months of school, all that lettuce, those greens that was on that salad bar was coming from our garden. So our kids are actually getting to eat that.
Nice.
I mean, the first 2 weeks that we did that, students, staff were like, hey, that lettuce, nobody really knew that they were eating the salad from our garden. And to hear them say, that lettuce tastes really good, or, once you guys get a different lettuce, or you're getting it from a different place, just that, that all that is awesome. We run the Blue Stem Cafe. We have a culinary department here in the current career academy, where a lot of our produce is going through them, and they're processing it, making meals available for the community to come in and purchase. So we're really trying to use it in the school, but there's a surplus of it that goes out to the community and the farmers markets.
That's nice. Yeah. What type of crops are being grown in these fields that are being presented in your farmers markets and your deliverables to the community?
A to Z, pretty much, and everything in between. I mean, cabbages. We have probably 6 different heads of cabbages, broccoli, cauliflower, lettuces, about 6 or 7 different lettuces, shards, carrots, onions, potatoes, watermelon, about 5 different varieties of pumpkins, traditional corn, sweet corn, um, Three Sisters garden with beans, squashes, pumpkins, sweet potatoes. Yeah. And all the herbs, broccoli, basil, thyme, chamomile,
Oh,
rhubarb,
there you go.
uh, all those, just about anything that we can find, and it's sustainable here. We use it.
Mhm.
Um, we try to grow it.
Now, do you have any unique seed that you harvest? Something that
Yeah,
you can't find. That's something that's older, you know.
I wish I really had a picture. I wish I had some, but unfortunately, we planted them. The Omaha pumpkin. It's a
Uh-huh.
pumpkin that was a staple crop to the Omaha people centuries ago. It was kind of thought to have gone extinct or lost uh, through a study or through a dig out in the Ohio Valley, up in I believe it was like more eastern Illinois.
Mhm.
Um, they were able to find a container that had those seeds in it. They carbonated them. They were like 600 years old. And those were propagated,
Wow.
kind of brought back, and we were able to get those seeds. And we've been the last 2 years we've been growing those. So reintroducing that traditional food back into our people's diets, our kids' diets. It's a smaller pumpkin, almost the size of a smaller spaghetti squash. It's orange in color.
Mhm.
We're able to grow that. We're growing a lot of that this year to really try to get that into uh, our kitchens, our cafeteria, and our kids' diet. Also, we
Yeah.
have the uh, trying to find those seeds and trying to find that. We were able to, through the UNL, one of the departments at UNL, Nebraska, University of Nebraska Lincoln, they were able to find us some Lakota seeds. It's a similar pumpkin. It's a little bit bigger, a little rounder shape. We actually planted some of those. Kind of same story behind that. It was traded. The doctor who collected those seeds was actually said that it's really closely related to the Omaha pumpkin and the Hidatsan pumpkin. So it really showed that commerce and that trading that took place, centuries ago. Because that lineage of that pumpkin is so closely, the DNA of that pumpkin is so closely related. But we are growing that traditional blue Hubbard squash. That was a Hidatsan type pumpkin. So yeah, we're those ones are kind of unique to us, and we're trying to really grow those and really try to make that a staple for us. And
Wow,
then
that's beautiful.
top of that, our corn, our traditional corn, that's so we say 7 acre garden, but 3 acres of that is put into corn every year that we use in our soups, our traditional dishes and different things. Um, yeah, so then that the whole thing is hand sown. We do have one of the local farmers. He sows that for us, that corn, because it's 3 acres. To get that.
Mhm.
Uh, he gets that in the ground, but it's all hand weeded, no chemicals involved in it. Hand weeded, then of course it's hand harvested, hand processed. Every kernel's taken off the cob by hand by their students. It's dried out in the sun and then packaged. We use it throughout the year.
Mhm. I
We do
was,
have a question from the audience that kind of goes in hand with what you're talking about right now. If I can ask that question now, Everett.
yeah.
We had a member ask about seed saving and what does the education language look like around seed saving, and how does the learning of harvesting look like for youth? What language techniques have you found that work well in teaching how to harvest properly without hurting the plant?
So yeah, seed saving, we've attempted, a few times. A lot of our stuff isn't heirloom. It isn't. we try to get as much heirloom stuff as we can. The cross-pollination part of that is a little tough, but that's something like this. This is I say we're in year 5, but to us it's still the infancy stage. So we're still learning a lot. I mean, there's so many tangibles to this thing, and so many directions that we're going, that we're trying to learn this, build a true curriculum around it so we can get it to our kids. So the seed saving is working, and that's something we're really going to try this year to take part in. One of my nieces, she works with us, Shanae Seacrest. She has a lot of knowledge in traditional plants, traditional plantings, and the traditional agriculture. She really is kind of savvy in that point where she's going to help us kind of really dive into that seed saving part when it comes that time of harvest. And what was the other part of the question? The harvest part. So the traditional harvest part, yeah. Throughout the year, like I said, we are trying to be cultural, aware of everything, and teach our kids food sovereignty and cultural sovereignty. All those things that tie to that. And at the same time, we're still trying to teach them like a business end of it. We're trying to make this a sustainable, self-sufficient program where we have producers that are asking us for the food. The local stores are actually going to come online and take our product, put it on their shelves and sell it. So we'll be able to recoup some of the funds that actually fund this program and help it be a little bit more self-sufficient. And then on the traditional side of that, though, we do have a language culture program here that has comprised of a couple elders, a few of our elders, and Vida Stabler. She's actually the director of that program, and they come down. They teach our kids. They actually made a prayer to show our kids that was actually that they taught our kids. It's in the Omaha language that our kids use that daily. It talks about harvesting. It talks about a prayer for themselves. It talks about this creation, the plant, the the full circle of what this really is. That prayer says. So that's work with them. Their work with them, and at that time of harvest, especially of our corn, there's traditional teachings that are when we're sitting down processing that corn. Traditionally, we have elders that are there, or we have knowledgeable culture people in the area that are kind of talking with the kids and explaining things to them to try to get those ties reconnected.
Awesome. Now, you had mentioned earlier that 3 acres of your overall harvest is corn. How many acres total is being farmed during this project?
So currently we have a lease of about 7.5 acres with the tribe. The kids went over, talked to the tribe themselves with Ricardo. Ricardo Ariza, he's the JAG coordinator, and he took the kids over after the initial survey, talked with the tribe, kind of asked them about it. Like, hey, we want to grow this garden, we want to do this. The kids went over, presented it to the tribe. The tribe was like, hey, we have 7 acres of land, 7.5 acres of land here that, we want you guys to use. We're going to lease it to you for $1 a year, and the terms, pretty much forever. So as long as we stay within that scope of food sovereignty and growing our food down here. And we've kind of expanded a little bit since. We have added a couple additional acres hopefully for a fruit orchard that we're gonna plant here this fall. Yeah, and I tell people all the time, take a look at it now because this is probably the smallest it's ever going to be. And that's true today. That's true. I mean, everybody that's ever come, we've grown by the time next time they come back. But really, right, 7.5 currently, 10 by the end of the season, and hopefully right around 20 by couple years down the road.
Wow, that's quite a bit of land there to be harvesting. And uh, so you're saying the kids come in at 8 o'clock in the morning and they're done at noon, right?
Yep.
Yep. Well, what is their work ethic like? Like if you can, like you said, some of them have been there for a while now. So from them first coming on and to developing to present, what have you noticed about their ethic and their behavior?
I'll use this one for an example. Last week, the beginning of the week, it was about 102 degrees, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. I mean, by 8 o'clock in the morning, it was already mid 90 or mid 80s, real high humidity. Kids all showed up. I mean, they were out there. Yeah, they were the happiest, but they were there. They were working. Um, so yeah, their work ethic it's there. It's really growing. It's really building. I'd be proud for one of our kids to go to one of these major farm operations and like say, hey, I work at the Three Sisters Farm. You could call, Mr. Valentino, and he can tell you, use me as a reference, and I would like support them, back them up 100%. Like, yeah, they're going to be there. They're going to do it. Like how it is with these cell phones with our kids. It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to get it out of their hands. So every morning they get there, they check their phone in, they sign in they'll sign their timesheet for work in the morning, and I mean, you walk around the garden, 7-acre garden. I'm moving around, checking on different groups. When I'm down there, I mean, you don't see it. You'll see a group of kids sitting down. A couple of our girls, young lady relatives sitting over here, pulling weeds or tending to plants, talking to each other, communicating, and doing their job. Or you'll see a couple of the boys over here with the rakes or with the hose or different things, working, talking, enjoying, laughing, teasing, and no phones around, So I mean, like that is a win, no matter how you look at it, right there.
Wow, that's awesome. Uh, you had mentioned something earlier about the Three Sisters seed. Did I say that right?
Yeah,
How does that work?
all Three Sisters, most of our indigenous communities or peoples, nations throughout the millennial use that process of growing crops, corn, it's usually corn, beans, squash, the corn, our traditional corn is planted in the center in the mound. Once that emerges, we plant our beans around that. That trellises up along the corn, provides nitrogen, fixes all those good nutrients back into the soil and the squash as that's planted intermediate throughout, and that provides coverage for the ground itself for moisture protection. All those real good things. It's real science proven today, but that it's to think that's how our people figured that all out. Thousands of years ago. To use that process. They didn't have all the science. They didn't know the bean was fixing nitrogen back into the soil. They didn't know the use of mulch wasn't needed if you use the squash to cover the ground for weed suppression. All those three foods are well stored. They can overwinter. It's a really cool process, neat process, and it's a real spiritual process when you're doing it. To see it happen, to see the kids out there, it's a lot different to see the kids in that. So our garden is comprised of our more commercial style garden, row crops types of things, but our Three Sisters is mounds with the beans and squash, different vegetables planted throughout. But to see our kids in that setting working on that part, it's a little different. I mean, it's hard to explain and to really put into words what you see and how you feel that. It's more of a feeling and a movement than it is, an actual practice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. That's good stuff. Now, what I know there's some of the media that I've ran into in regards to the projects that you all do down at Omaha Nation, and one of them being is getting the attention from local and national, and I even read there was international coverage of the project going down in Macy. Well, what has that been like?
Has its pros and its cons. I think at times I mean, to give somebody a tour and sit down and give them our story like this takes time. It takes time, and like right now when it's in the garden, when it's garden season, it's go time. It's a lot of work. Um, but yeah, I mean it's been awesome. We've been able to um, tell our story, share our story with several different organizations. I mean, like we're, for instance, like last year, we got to come out and do the Great Plains Tribal Leaders Summit and be a presenter there with you guys, give our story. Uh, we went to like the Intertribal uh, Ag National Convention. We're speakers at that in Las Vegas. 2 years ago, we went to the National JAG Convention in Louisville, Kentucky, presented there. The NAFIS conference, Native American, our NAFIS is Native American Federally Impacted Schools, and National Convention in Washington, D.C., and presented our story there. Uh, Nebraska Farmer School, our state convention. We were a keynote speaker there.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, a lot of places. Not going to say any of them are better than the other, but I mean, just a lot of those are kind of like the bigger places that we've been. We've had, uh, CBS World News. We had, um, the Guardian newspaper. We had the World Herald, Sioux City Journal. A lot of newspapers come down and do our cover our story. It's really, I mean, it gets the word out there for us. I mean, even like Ricardo and different ones have like international connections, with that are really interested in our story. When we at the JAG convention, we got to work with a group of a JAG group from Alaska, and there was even talks of us going up there helping with their salmon harvest. And they were going to come down here and help us with the corn harvest, and do some trading and some things like that. So it really helps. It really helps. But at the same time, it's like I said, it's there's cons to it too, where people want to come in and overmine us, take all of our information and like, hey, how'd you do this? Okay, yeah, and they're writing it down, and a couple days later, you see it on somebody's website, like, hey, we were partners with the Omaha Nation Three Sisters Garden. And you're like, no, really, you weren't. You came down and visited, toured it. So there's those things too. But I mean, like overall, at large, I think it's really been beneficial to our program to have visitors come in and tell our story. We've had, I mean, like Governor Ricketts, he toured our garden. Senator Smith, our Congressman Smith, Adrian Smith, he's been in the garden. Secretary of the Interior, Miss Holland, I think.
Oh yeah.
She came and toured. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, how many people have heard of it, seen it, and are being part of it. But then again, the con part is, we struggle here on a daily basis trying to get things done, and that's a big part of giving our tours, hoping that we're growing our partnerships and we're growing those types of things where people come in like, hey, we have a grant for you. We want you to apply for it and do this. And it comes to find out it's like $1,000 grant, $2,000 grants, which is helpful. But but they want us to give them a 5-page report every 2 weeks. Do $10,000 worth of work, office work to get a $2,000 grant. That's not helpful for us. So we've kind of actually had to set our expectation and our goals and prioritize our time when we're soliciting for funds, when we're looking for funders, and different groups to help us of a certain threshold to try to, so we're making the best use of our time and our students' time and our guardians' time, get things done right. So, like I said, over mining a lot of times it happens. People come in like, "How do you do this? How did you do this? How did you do this?" That's a lot of. I mean, we're more than willing to help anyone, but when there's no true partnership built there, and there's just it always ends up one side. When it ends up one-sided, that's not what we're looking for, and that's not the best interest of our students, our kids. Because at the end of the day, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, however creator sees it for me, I want this to be about our kids. I don't want them to say Richard Valentino did this or Richard Valentino did that. I want them to say, mention our students' names, and our first group of students was this, and our 6th year of students was this. Were these students? They done this, they done that. I want it to be about them and not about what we're doing here.
Actually, see, we have something in the chat, Shannon.
Yes, we have another question from the farming growing process. Are you teaching the youth how to cook the foods that they are growing?
It's all part of it, and that's really a big part of it. So every year, the Omaha tribe they host the annual harvest celebration, the Hidawachi. Our students, through all their produce that they grow in the garden, the vegetables, the corn, we provide a meal at that time. The students harvest it, prepare it, cook it, and they share that with the community. I think last year was our biggest year. We did around 600. We served about 600 people. Our kids did that. We had actual buffalo calling. That in the early spring, the kids all took part of that. That meat was, frozen, packaged, frozen, and kind of set aside for the annual harvest celebration. So we took our traditional corn, our squashes, our vegetables, made some soups, different dishes, squash melodies, different things that our kids actually provided. And in that process, we got zucchinis. We did no fry bread last year, which was a lot of people were like, "Oh man, no fry bread," but
Yeah.
the true thing behind fry bread is fry bread. It's not healthy for us. It truly is not. So we didn't have a cake. No traditional cake that you see from Hy-Vee or Walmart or wherever it's from, a bakery. We didn't have any of those cakes. We had we made zucchini breads. We made that was our cake, the zucchini bread, and then we handled that just how the Omaha traditionally handled cakes. We used that cake, those zucchini breads, and that. Our bread was more of a cowboy bread, not the healthiest, but it still wasn't fried. It was ingredients whatever ingredients we could use was given to them, and used it in that. So yeah, I mean, we made zucchini breads. Traditionally, it's not a traditional food for the Native American or the Omaha at that, but like sauerkraut, our cabbage is produced into sauerkraut. We make pickles, probably 10 different kind of pickles. I mean, Kool-Aid pickles. The kids really like the Kool-Aid pickles. I was like, "What is a Kool-Aid pickle?" And they're actually kind of good. They're kind of good. So we make Kool-Aid pickles, jams, jellies, like our corn. Yeah, we really do try to get our kids to use this food that we're growing and process and showing them that, hey, you can use this, you can make it useful for yourself, and show them how the process of cooking it, a traditional process and a more modern approach. It's hard to change our kids. If we could grow Takis and hot Cheetos and
Oh yeah.
things down there, and be millionaires, but every kid would be eating it. But it's hard to change our kids' taste palette for a squash.
That's a good point. Yep.
It's really hard to do that, but we are being successful in doing that through different modern approaches to cooking. All those kind of relative things. So it works, and they're learning, they're doing it. And one of the big things so we have a group of adult staff that work in the garden is like let them guide them, show them, be the bumper rails on the side so they don't get too far out of the lane, but be there. Let's get them down this path and show them whatever we need to do to get to where we're going.
Oh yeah, absolutely right about that. I think changing their taste palettes is one of the greater challenges because of everything is so abundant and available to them. It takes us a few dollars to get a bag of Takis, and you think of all the dyes and everything that's put in there in the process, their process of making it, and it gets to your shelf. That leads us on to the whole overall of good health and wellness. When we talk about now, I watched a YouTube video of the JAG program project, and it was a news interview. I think it might have been out of Sioux City, but you said something that was right on the money, and it's something that I still kind of think about in what you said. And when you went on to say, we historically as a people have high obesity, high diabetes, high cancer rates, and you went on to say we can build all the educational facilities we want, but the cure is right here. That stands out to me because we think about good health and wellness. What we do here at the Great Plains at the health board in regards to our program of good health and wellness, and that is one of the components of our grant and of our funding and of our services is we do educational health education in regards to those high rates, and that's a big high rate in Indian country. So what you said there, I feel like it kind of leads into our topic of prevention, health.
Food. Food is medicine. It really is. We need food to survive, regardless, and we're going to eat that. And unfortunately, there's times we're forced to feed our kids poison. When you come from a community like most of our indigenous communities, our more impoverished communities, we don't have Whole Foods. We don't have we don't have all these organic places, these real health, nutritious places to get food. We got the C-store, and they're profit driven, where, the things that are making money is the sodas that they got in the freezers, the energy drinks they got on the shelves, the potato chips, the breads, all those real processed foods that you go in there, they're making changes, they're making strides. They have one little cooler that's set up. They got a couple heads of lettuce and those types of things, but it's frozen pizza. We're 25, 30 miles from the closest true grocery store where you can get true fresh vegetables. We do have Walt Hill, the store, but I've seen, people on fixed income spend half of that fixed income grocery shopping at the C-store to buy frozen pizzas, potato chips, and pop. And that's what we're forced to really give our kids. But then we're trying to change that whole dynamic and that whole scope there. And like, hey, let's provide them something good. Our farmers market, there are people in line. The WIC program has recently given the recipients of the WIC program, women and infant children, a voucher of $30 to use at our farmers market. So they can use that. They can buy our butternut squash and puree that, use that for baby food. They can buy the sugar snap peas from us and feed those to the kids. They can buy, our lettuces, all those types of things. They give that to the kids. So yeah, it is health. Like I said it, the cure's right here. We had a student, year one, it's one of my favorite stories to tell. Year one is she started the school year, the summer program with us. She had to go get her physical, come back. She was upset, crying, talking to her peers. She was diagnosed. She was told that she was type 1 diabetic. Pretty much born with juvenile diabetes. A1C was at a 15, I believe. Doctors were mad. Like,
Oh, wow.
that's kidney failure range. Really upset about that whole thing. She worked in the garden. She dealt with it. We talked to her. We encouraged her to keep going. She worked in the garden. She tried her best in the garden. Put that effort, that physical labor into it, and she started. Ricardo likes to make different meals with the food that's grown. So during lunch, he'll make some type of salad, or a melody with the squash and different things, and I have the kids try it. She really enjoyed it. She ate it. She even enjoyed it so much she grew a garden at home with her family, and she was using those meals in the evening, over the weekend with her family. Toward the end of summer, I mean, just a quick short window of like 65 to 75 days of working in the garden. She went back to the hospital for her follow-up. The doctors told her, well, your A1C is down around a 5, which is really good. And we're really contemplating on taking your insulin pump up because it may be working against you now because your health has improved that much. So just that short window, if we're able to expand that window, and if she was able to work in the garden, if she was able to eat these kind of foods for 6, 7, 8 months, that insulin pump probably would have came out. She probably wouldn't have to worry about those type of things. But unfortunately, back into the school, the daily grind of the way we live today, she had to start coming back to school. Had to, the crops all were done growing, and she was kind of forced back into eating processed foods and those types of things. We really have that vision of trying to change that whole little paradigm there, making this food available to more people on a regular. We're starting to use greenhouses. We're starting to start our crops a lot earlier, high tunnels, whatever we can kind of scrounge together, build up. We did get a high tunnel of 45 foot by 25 foot high tunnel donated to us by the Burke family. So I mean, and that right now that's producing tomatoes this early. So we're starting to change that. Hopefully we can get a second crop in here where those will produce October, November, December. So we're really pushing into the school, and maybe that kid that doesn't know that is on that edge of just constantly eating processed foods is going to eat something really good that's going to give them a chance. That's really, I mean, like food's medicine, it truly is. How we do it.
Oh yeah, I agree with you fully on that one. Those discipline is hard to follow. I know that eating healthy and eating dieting, it's good for a while, but then when you step out your element, you have to take a trip or travel somewhere, then it's easy to pick up a burger. So I feel like that it takes a lot of discipline to stay on that track. But I think we had a comment in the chat. Was it a comment or a question, Shannon?
There is one more question asking if the C-store is tribal owned and what the possibility might look like if some of the youth or the program itself got a culinary certificate to collab with the C-store on baked goods or lunches for sale.
So yeah, like I said, we I didn't want to really track the C-store, but they're trying to have a produce section. So we do one of our farmers markets down there right next to the C-store in the grass area. At the end of that farmers market, the C-store owner or the C-store manager came out and said, "Hey, what are you going to do with the rest of your produce?" We said, "Hey, well, we're probably going to take it over to the seniors or donate it somewhere else." They were like, "Hey, we'll buy that." They saw people coming and wanting our produce, so they bought what was left. and they put it on the shelves in the C-store. So we built a relationship there, and they are going to do that. Like I did mention, a couple of the local stores are going to put our food, our produce on the shelf. So yeah, we're trying. And our Blue Stem Cafe, we're one of the only fortunate schools in the country to have a actual cafe here in the store within the school. So provide our own. It goes along with our entrepreneur pathway within the school to show the kids the business end of things. So it's one of the only real local food establishments where you can come in, sit down, and have a meal. A lot of our produce goes through there, where they use our vegetables for salads, for greens, for hamburger toppings, for all that. And hopefully, as this thing grows, we're able to get more of a variety of food to kind of really supply the cafe to provide those really good nutritional meals, give those to the kids instead of your normal, fried this, fried that, I mean, like a good salad, all those types of things. So, yeah, we're trying that to get that into them. They're working with us.
Wow, that's amazing. You have a store inside of your school, and it serves coffee too, right?
Yep.
Yep. So then, if I can remember, like a retail as well. So
We do have a retail store called the Chief Store. A lot of the kids were not actually capable of making our own shirts quite yet. I may be wrong, we may be there, but they do make a lot of the necklaces, earrings, different merchandise that's in there that's being sold. Our T-shirts that we make for any of our sporting events. A lot of our kids have a big process and a big part in designing them. The print that goes on those shirts, and we actually outsource that, and we get the shirts in, and those go on the shelf. Blankets, a lot of stuff that happening, and again, that's a whole big part of our entrepreneurship pathway to help the kids understand, hey, this is how you build a business, and they teach them the ins and outs. So I believe last year was like the first year it showed profit, so it's an actual viable business. The kids are really learning good things.
wow, that's awesome. Big shout out to the Omaha Nation School staff and administration, school board too. That's that's really beautiful that we're able to give back into and to invest into our youth that are coming up. I believe that's the ultimate goal of a lot of tribal communities. And I feel like what's fascinating with Omaha Nation and what we learned over the years of the time and effort you put into the students. That and I know there was one comment I've coming into Macy and someone's first time seeing the school, and when the comment was like, "Wow, that's Omaha Nation." I was like, "Yeah," I was like, they have quite a bit going on here in regards to the technical school, and now we have the garden, and so yeah, big shout out to what you all do and for the community and putting it back in, and everything you're putting back into our children as well. Given the entrepreneur, the agricultural component, business component, that says a lot. So big shout out to what you all are doing down there. It's beautiful stuff. You mentioned earlier, and I know that this program has been going on, as you said, 5 years. And I know there's bumps in the roads and consistency, but that's one thing is that you remain consistent over the years to keep this going year in and year out. And of course, there's going to be bumps in the road now. But what is the future of this program?
Well, like I said, to provide that, to keep this sustainable and to really provide that place for our kids to access healthy food year round. We can grow it. We learned how to grow it. We learned how to prep the soil. We learned how to all those types of things. Like I said, there's big things that go in that changing our kids' taste palette. A lot of our kids they don't want to eat. Our ancestors, they had to survive so our kids can be here today. They had to eat squash. corn, beans, because those are staple foods that could be preserved. They can be stored over the winter in caches. They can access those throughout the winter. But today, where there's food that grows from this creation that's our kids like and enjoy, that people as a whole like and enjoy, that are only readily available a certain time of year. But through that, we can grow all those, we can take care of all those, we can package it, we can process it, but we have the processing part of that is our hang up right now. So we had worked with the architect firm, design firm, help us design a processing center. Like I said, this is a career academy. I guess the current career academy, we have 6 pathways. Each pathway has a learning lab and an actual classroom. We do early childhood development, nursing, construction, automotive, early child entrepreneurship, and culinary. Each one of those have an actual classroom and a lab. Well, we have the classroom, well, now we need the lab, to make that an extension of this, a place where our kids can actually sit down and learn. When it's the hustle and bustle of growing season, it's actually, it's about taking care of that plant. It's about weeding. It's about watering. It's about staying busy to make sure that your crop is successful.
Yeah.
It's going to be there for you throughout the winter. But we don't have that. It's hard to get that education across to the kids in that large of a group, that large of a setting, without actually sitting them down and teaching them the science, the culture, the tradition that's behind all of that. And that classroom will hopefully, that processing center will really hopefully help us fill the shelves down in the chief store. That will help supply the culinary department. That'll help supply the cafeteria, that our kids can get this food and have a place that it's processed, stored, in a safe, clean environment. So that's our goal, to get that. That's our next step, I guess. I'm working here at the school. We've always, anytime I've sat down and met about an idea and we've talked about that idea a second time in a meeting, it's usually going to happen. It's not, let's table that. So we're moving forward with that. We have, we're always accepting, donations and looking for grants to help fund that building. It becomes with a pretty hefty dollar amount of about $9 million total to get that, to see that finished product. But the way we designed it, it's real southern facing to use the sun for solar, maximize that solar exposure. It's got a geothermal design for the heating and cooling. It's got gray water catchment systems that's involved in the whole thing, so it's real creation friendly. I guess that's one of our goals. A personal goal for mine is to get one of these kids, the Omaha Nation, the Omaha tribe itself. They own their own farm. They farm a lot of their own land. They depend on local farmers to get things done for them, do those kind of things. So one of my hopes and goals is to get one of our kids to really grab this and go with it. Get one of our colleges to offer them a scholarship. Say, hey, come get an ag degree here, where they can get the ag farm and take some of these practices they learned here and put it right back into their own land and be profitable for them and their people.
Yeah. We have a couple comments in the chat here, and it says, do any of the individuals who are really involved in the gardening maybe have an opportunity to get a master gardener certificate?
I believe so. I guess we've really never went down that road with that. I know like the Center for Rural Affairs and different organizations actually actually offer those types of things. We just haven't really gotten into that. Uh, we're just going, and we would just want people, if you want to help, come on over and help. That's kind of
Right.
our motto is like, come help. Where it's hard for us, like right now, when it's in the thick of things, to
Right.
there and like, hey, can you come over and help us do this or this? But we have to do that, but at the same time, we got to get things done at the garden. I mean, master gardening courses. Being a master gardener would be awesome for our kids to have that credential and that type of certificate. And that's probably something that's gonna be involved in our curriculum if once we get our processing center done. On another note, on that processing center though, one of the things that we put in there is actually in the corner of that processing center is an actual store. So
Mhm.
well, we can process it, we can put our food and everything right there where the general public can just come in and be all the fresh produce be right there. I forgot to add that about the processing center.
Yeah. Yeah. We have another one here. It says, would you be willing to share uh, the how-to on the compensation, job description, salary, or basics that justify this through the Board of Education, Department of Labor, etc.?
Probably above my pay grade and all that, but I mean, sure. I mean, if you reach out, if you, I'm sure my email or can be linked to this podcast and in it somehow, and share my information. You can contact me. I sure can put you in touch with the right people to share that kind of information. Um, visit a little bit more about it.
Mhm. If there's, I know we surpassed our hour here, which kind of flew by, which I kind of knew it would. But is there, uh, if you want something uh, for people to know about what you're doing, a message that'll, the inspiration that you're doing for the community down there in Macy, um, what is the message of the overall goal of what you're doing down there?
Kids are doing it. Our kids are doing it. Don't give up on our kids. Help them, steer them, lead them, guide them. Be a responsible relative to one another and help them. Or help them find their identity, help them find who they are, who their people were. Um, that's it. Just help them. Be there for them. Be supportive of them. All those bad things that are out there. Our kids are way more important than any of that. Let's focus on our kids. Let's get it there. Let's get it done for them. Help them get it done. That's, in a nutshell, I guess that's my message. I guess.
Mhm. Do you have anything to add, Shannon?
I don't have anything else. I don't see any other comments in the chat or questions. So I just want to say thank you, Richard, for sharing all your knowledge on this program. There is a link to a very short evaluation feedback form in the chat. We appreciate your feedback and use it in our future webinars. So we appreciate you filling that out before you jump off. But thanks everyone for joining us today, and a big thank you again to Richard for sharing your program with us.
Appreciate it. Anytime.
Yeah, we have one of our participants has shared a link for a resource. They said that applications are closed, uh, but you can reapply next year. So, well, I'll share that with you through a link and
Okay.
kind of keep that resources. So, again, really great conversation, and I really really a believer in what you are doing down there, and I couldn't be more appreciative. And just to hear all this, back home, warms my heart. And it was great that you all came out here to share your story last year. And just want to say thank you again, and big shout out, thank you to the administration. I see Stacy's online, so big shout out to her, Superintendent Stacy, and the rest of the school board, administration, all those involved. And wish you the best of luck on your harvest this year. And thank you for being a part of our series. Awesome.
One more thing. Everett, Shannon, your whole staff, your team, anytime you're in the neighborhood, July, August is awesome to come visit our garden, come get put your eyes on it, come tour it, open invite to you guys for that. But thank you again for everything. Awesome. Helping us spread the word, get our word out there and what our kids are doing down here.
Ahoo, ahoo.